Alright, good morning YouTubers, Tush coming at you. Tuesday, July the 10th and just 10 a.m. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood. A little bit of a breeze going, which is nice. Anyway, I'm working on uploading a video at the moment. I tried to upload last night, but the hard drive on my laptop was full. And had to move some files around. It took a couple hours of my time. I guess if you don't YouTube or upload to YouTube, you don't understand how long it takes to edit and publish videos, and sometimes that just gets in the way of progress. But anyway, we're back out here today, and I'll upload that video shortly. It's rendering at the moment. We'll upload it as soon as it's done. And this video hopefully will follow that one quickly. So what we're going to do today, as I mentioned in my video that you haven't seen yet, we are going to start working on some welding repairs. And I believe what we're going to do first are these hinge mount locations, or bonnet mount locations, where they've rusted through quite substantially. I think this side over here is worse for wear. Yeah, it is. So it's going to be a couple part repair. I've got to replace the inner metal first, and then we've got to put this little stiffening panel, I guess you're going to call it, with the welded nuts on the outside. This one's going to be a little more difficult because of all that brazing in there as well. So we might have to even restructure a little bit of the wheel well in order to fix this properly. But we'll see what happens when we get there. So we're going to break out the cutting wheels and go to town and remove that old scabby metal, and we'll come up with a plan to repair that shortly after that. One thing I wanted to do, as I was thinking about it this morning, is I really should, as part of my body prep paint expense log, I should include the $400 I paid to get it media blasted. So we're going to add that on to our total here. I'll add another line item, and we'll add the $400 additional, and we'll update the totals. Alright, here we go. We're just going to, I just made a couple of reference marks so I can put this plate back in the same place, although it's going to follow the body line across the top. I just want to make sure I get it relatively back in there close, because it's going to affect obviously the hinge position. So here we go. We're going to make the first cuts and see if we can get that plate out of there. Okay, we've got the first area cut out and we've got our patch made. So we're just going to weld that in from the back side so we can clean up the welds and get away from a little bit of this brazing on the front side. So we're going to drag the welder out and we'll just tack this in. I've made some preliminary marks just for the holes for those fastener locations. So anyway, we'll go ahead and tack that in. Okay, so part one of the repair is done. That's the inside plate. There it is on the outside, and here it is from the inside. So it's looking not too bad. So we'll go ahead and do that reinforcement plate for the outside, and we'll try to mimic this piece here with the bent edges. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. If I had a little metal form, I could hammer around it, but I don't have any metal that's that thick to be able to do that. So anyway, we'll figure something out. Alright, here's the plate we made. It fits okay. Doesn't look too bad. Corners aren't as rounded as the other one, but it doesn't really matter. Just bent it around the edge of my little anvil, and it's going to go something like that. So we're going to plug weld that in there after we drill some holes, and then we'll weld the nuts on. Okay, we've got the back of this panel primed. Black primer, kind of weird, eh? And this is primed, and I've got the holes now drilled for the spot welds. So we'll let that dry. It's just coming up to 12:30, so we've been at this for a little while. Anyway, I think it's time for lunch. Haven't had breakfast yet, so maybe we'll go grab a bite of lunch and let this dry and come back and plug weld it, and we'll move on to the other side. I figured before lunch I'd be adventurous and cut this other side out, so it's just hanging there ready to be popped out. So we'll leave it there temporarily, and we'll finish up the other side when we come back from lunch. See you then. Okay, the stiffener panel is all plug welded in place. So we're just going to break out the grinder and grind down those plugs to make it look a little bit more presentable. although you'll never ever see this again anyway. Alright, just coming up to 5:30. This is your 5:30 update. So the second patch is in and ground down. We're just about ready to prime it. I've made that reinforcement plate for this side, and got the holes drilled for the plug welds. So we're going to prime the back side of this and prime that, let it dry, and we'll do the same drill, plug weld that solid, and then the last thing we need to do is to weld the nuts on. Well, it's just coming up to 7:30. Believe it or not, that's taken me all day to do these two patches. But they're looking good, looking much better than what was in there. Nuts are welded on, everything looks good. Everything seemed to line up okay. So we'll probably do a little grinding on the back of those repair patches just to get rid of the welding flash. And here's the other side. So that's looking good. So obviously we need to recoat this now with epoxy at some point. I've started to do some other small repairs, some little pinholes that I found along the way. But I think we'll stop there for now, and we will tackle the second most difficult area on the car, which is going to be at the rear of the car. I showed that to you yesterday. So this channel back here is pretty rotten. I'm not going to be able to show it to you right now, but what I'll do is I'll reposition the car. Maybe I'll spin the car around so I have the ass end out towards the garage doors, if I can do that. And gives me a little bit more light to work from that way, and it's kind of nicer sitting towards the open doors as opposed to back in the depths of the garage. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll come back in a little bit. And for anybody that's interested, there's a quick cross section of the piece that I cut out. And you can see the center core of that is just completely rust, all flaked rust. So I'm glad that we replaced that, because that wouldn't have lasted for the next 50 years. Might last a few years, but eventually it would have rusted out and caused some problems. And it's a pretty good pressure point where this hinge is bolt up to for the bonnet. So it's definitely a good thing that we caught this and changed it out when we could. Okay, just coming up to 8 o'clock, and we've got the car situated in the way we want. It was a little bit comical. If you'd watched me filming that, you would have seen me moving them on these moving dollies under the legs. And I got about halfway through and got stuck between the fenders and all this junk over here. It's kind of like if you've seen the Austin Powers movie. It's in Gold Member. You'll know what I'm talking about. It was a little bit comical. Anyway, we're going to take a look at the rear end of this car. But first, I think we're going to have some dinner, and then we're going to come out and create a plan of attack. Have I mentioned that my neighbors think I'm crazy? It's 9:45, and we're out still working on the car. Dinner took quite a bit longer than anticipated, since I had no groceries in the house. I had to go grocery shopping. I was tired of eating out. I've eaten out for the last few days, really since I got home from my trip. I haven't been grocery shopping, so I finally broke down. I went grocery shopping and made a half-decent dinner. So, anyway, back in the garage. I'll give you an update on what we're doing. Alright, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this, but here is the plan. So, first thing I need to do is, since I've got this hole here, I really need to cut this back all the way along here. There's a bunch of spot welds along the edge here, so I want to remove this top layer of metal and get to the bottom, which is really the channel in the rear valence. So I want to expose that so I can put a new strip of metal in here and fix this hole up here. So that's one repair. So we're probably going to have to do, obviously, remove the top layer of metal, fix the bottom layer of metal because it's all holy down here and in here. So we'll have to do that. And then I've got this corner over here to do probably a 2-piece repair. Probably cut the face out, and then we'll cut the back or the side out. I may actually remove this whole flange piece here to be able to give me more access to weld this face in here and be able to clean it up, because this is going to be a problem. This is going to be in the way. So I may cut this out as well, just so I can access this area here. Looks like I've got a bunch of seam sealer in here that I'm going to have to get the heat gun out and heat that up and remove all that seam sealer to see what's in behind there. But that's the plan basically, and it's pretty much the same on the other corner as well. Same sort of damage. So again, remove that top piece of metal, fix the bottom piece, and I've also got the same sort of damage in this corner here as well. So I think we'll do that first thing tomorrow morning. We'll get out here and we'll start cutting things up again and doing a little bit of exploration, and hopefully we'll be able to fix this without too many issues. Alright, have a good night. Thanks.